The rural producer suffers, the mineral producer suffers, the citizen suffers. Our logistics bottleneck is gigantic. Our Brazilian agribusiness produces less per hectare than the American one, for example, which is our big competitor in agribusiness. Why does it produce less? Because we have no way to deliver this cargo. We have the capacity to produce almost double what the American produces per hectare, but we don't have the delivery logistics, so we have no way to flow our production. Our producer, who's out there in the Midwest, regardless of the distances he produces in the field, he has no place for storage. Today we have large areas and large producers, mainly in the Mato Grosso region, who store corn out in the open because there's no warehouse, no silos to store it. And when he has to take it from the warehouse, from the little he has, to take it to a port, he goes by truck on dirt roads, and they get stuck when it rained. It would be 3-4 a week. The truck stopped, stuck with the cargo spoiling, right? That's because it had to reach a port. And with all the difficulties, it arrived, but even so, all of this is cost. All of this is expensive. When it arrived in some scenario, it arrived at a river. It didn't arrive at an ocean port, right? It arrived at a river port. And upon arriving at a river port, he had to transfer the cargo, put it in a silo, put it on a barge, to transport it through yet another scenario of distance, another X kilometers, to reach a port where he could have access to a ship, right? And in doing so, he had to transfer it again. All of this is cost, which builds up on the cargo itself. And the one who pays this cost is the cargo. So it gets there, he puts it on a ship, and puts it on a small ship to transport it to reach the final destination in Europe, in Asia, anywhere. This whole scenario is expensive because he doesn't see it directly, because he's not the one paying for it, but he gets paid much less. So this rural producer who's there on the farm producing his soy, his corn, his cotton, leaves money on the table that's in the hands of the traders, in the hands of logistics, in the hands of this entire logistics chain, and at the end of the day, he can't deliver at a competitive price there. He produces 1 ton of soy. This ton of soy is lost to reach the final destination, for example in Asia, and for the producer, 100, 200 kilograms of soy remain. The rest is in the chain, in the cost. So this cost is very expensive. This also happens with iron ore itself. We're not talking about the largest iron ore producer in the country, but all the small, medium producers, they have no logistics alternative. So there is transport, for example, by truck with iron ore. Imagine there's iron ore being transported from Corumba in Mato Grosso do Sul to Minas Gerais to feed an industry. It's 2,000 kilometers to be transported by truck. This is a fact. This isn't conflicting information. It makes no sense. It should be transported by railway for the domestic market itself. When you look at the foreign market, the ships are small in some independent terminals. That's why the producer, he suffers without knowing at the same time what his competitiveness would be if he had a basic infrastructure to use. I'll give 2 examples of production in 2 regions of the country that suffer with logistics. For instance, the soybean or corn agricultural producer from the Sorriso region in Mato Grosso and the soy or corn producer from the surrounding region, for example of Unai and Minas Gerais. Both suffer from the same problem, a lack of logistics infrastructure. In the case specifically of the producer from Sorriso, what does he do today to put his soy, his corn in Europe or Asia? He produces in the field, delivers to some road terminal scenario in a warehouse to store that cargo, gather that cargo. It leaves by truck, travels along the 163, and stops, for example, in Miratuba, in that region of Para. Then he tips the cargo to get it out of the truck and put it onto a barge. Yeah, this barge travels about another 1,000 kilometers to reach Barcarena, a river terminal, which is at a river mouth, but it's still a river terminal, but where the ships arrive. In Barcarena, he takes it off the barge, puts it inside a silo so that he can later load the ship. He has this chain of cargo operations to get his soy, his corn, inside a ship. He put it on the ship, which is a small ship because it's a river port, it's not an ocean port, it's a river port, and then the small ship goes to the final destination. So he also has a freight cost to leave Barcarena and reach Shanghai, for example. This is the production chain. In the same way, a bit less problematic, a producer from Unai takes his soy, his corn, he has some railway alternatives, but mainly the largest volume goes by truck as well. So he leaves Unai, or he delivers to some network of a railway concessionaire in the Minas Gerais region and tries to take it to a port where the cost is a bit lower. He delivered it, put it on the railway, reached the port, there's a warehouse, but there are also small ships. But the volume also goes by truck, from Unai to Santos to Paranaguá to Rio Grande to Meritituba. Port alternatives are sought because our agribusiness production has grown so much that today we no longer have the capacity to keep choosing. It goes where it can and it goes the way it can. It goes by truck, put it on the railway, but it also goes by truck, reaches a port. The port terminals have bottlenecks, right? Not just a warehouses of infrastructure, but it's with a bottleneck, including of arrival at the terminal. Because when you get to Santos, for example, there are truck lines. These truck lines prevent the cargo from flowing. A port isn't for you to keep storing. A port is for you to load and unload cargo. It doesn't have to stay still there storing. And there's a traffic jam, for example, at the Port of Santos, where today you have a very high cost of demurrage because the ships keep waiting for their berth allocation, their space to dock. So the cargo doesn't arrive properly, and also the ship doesn't arrive properly because there are operational, railway, and road bottlenecks. So we have a complex logistics chain for the producer. We need to invest in infrastructure so that we have port capacity without bottlenecks, whether by road transport or by railway, but especially for ships. Whenever we achieve a seamless integration of our road transport, railway, and port infrastructure, we see a significant advancement and a truly massive expansion throughout our entire national economy. So this integration of this infrastructure, it makes our logistics vocation become not only competitive, but much more competitive than the others. Because we know how to produce, we just don't have the means by which we can deliver better. In other words, the role of Macro today is almost that of an infrastructure developer, right? In other words, we do a planning, we do a detailing of these infrastructure projects in the railway sector, in the port sector, in the energy sector, in communication, right? So that we can deliver to the investor and invest. And Macro always makes its investments also together with the other investors for a better predictability of cost and profitability of these investments.